microphone. I think we're ready to go. Let's make the announcement. How do I get to my channel? I don't even know. Am I live? No, that says I'm not online now. Shoot, did I screw things up? Okay. Hello, everyone, or both of you, I suppose. Hope everyone's doing well. Another week, another chance to get used to the fact that there's like a 5-second delay, which I don't know that will ever happen. So this week, just like last week, we're going to do a little bit of maintenance to this mechanical keyboard. I'll tell you a little bit about the differences from last week. And then I thought we would maybe play, quote unquote, play this game here, which is called You Think You Know Me, which is by Andy Baio. I'm sorry, Andy Baio is her husband. It's by Amy Baio. Apologies to Ms. Baio. I know you in this game through your husband. It is a game about getting to know other people. And last week, I feel like I just kind of look at the green screen effect. That's cool. Let's see, can I get it? No. Oh, creepy, weird. Okay. Last week, since I mostly just rambled, I thought we'd try this, little conversation starters. But first, let me take a drink of today's sponsor, Decaf Crystal Light Sweet Tea. Little behind the scenes info. Later this week, you guys are going to see a skit where I'm drinking whiskey or scotch. Is it the same thing? I think it's the same thing. And it'll actually be Crystal Light. Okay, so if you weren't here last week, I need to stop moving Let me see. Let's get that up out of the way. There you go. Okay. So if you weren't here last week, what I'm doing here is I'm going to be lubing up these switches. So this is a mechanical keyboard, meaning it has mechanical switches, meaning the part where you click. A lot of people really like this clacky sound. I like it too within reason, but to me it's really clacky. Hi Emma, thank you for staying awake. I appreciate it. You are under no obligation to stay, although of course, I'm happy to have you around. So what we'll be doing is we'll be stripping these keys off. I'll be adding some lube to it, some super lube to each switch. And it'll make it a little softer, a little smoother, a little more buttery. And then I might add some foam underneath the keyboard plate, like the underneath. I might not. These keyboards are kind of infamously hard to get into, and also they're pretty solid. There's not a whole lot of empty space in here. I don't know if my foam would even really fit. So, okay. That's what we're doing. I'm going to do one more little sound test here, so that when I'm done, we can tell how it sounds. So the first step of working on a keyboard is you got to take the keys off, of course. Got a little key puller here. So I'll use the same caveats I used last time, which is this is not, if you are a serious mechanical keyboard Hey, it's Ends of Invention. Hello, thank you for joining us. I cannot remember if your first name is out or not. Hart, hi. You know, Hart, I've never told you, but I live right down the street from you. Not literally, but you live up in southern Virginia, and I live in eastern northern North Carolina. So, that's not a threat, just general information. um, right, yes, I didn't know if your first name was public information or not. So what I'm going to tell you is if you're a serious mechanical keyboard person, look away, don't watch this video, and please don't troll me. If I was a real professional, what I'd be doing is desoldering all these keys and taking them out, and taking them apart, and lubing them very carefully with a brush. I'm not really that guy. Hello, Ada from Peace, Love, and Games joining us as well. This is awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Why did my light just turn off? Let me see here. That's better. Weird. Yeah, so I'm going to start pulling these keys. And like I said, there's this game we're going to be playing, or kind of a game that I'm kind of going to be playing, which is conversation starters. So the idea is you have a hand of cards. You have a hand of cards, and these have like the newlywed game type questions. And the idea is that, so this one says, this is a good example. I know you prefer denim versus leggings. And I would make my guess, and then you would answer. And if I was right, I would get to discard my card. And if I was wrong, I would still discard my card, but I'd pull another one. And you play until everyone has an empty hand, or until you have an empty hand, and then you win. I mean this entirely non-judgmentally. I'm sure Amy Bayo would agree with me as well. It's not like a game. It's more of an exercise in getting to know people. It's a lot of fun. I recommend it. So, since obviously I prefer denim over leggings, I'm going to pull another card. Daryl, thanks for joining us, bud. Okay. Here's a good one, and you guys can answer this in the comments if you want, or in the chat. I know you love blank. Secretly love. So let's talk about things that we secretly love. I think I'm pretty upfront. I don't really believe in guilty pleasures. There's a comic strip called Cat and Girl, which most of you probably know, and has this great line that I quote all the time. It says, pleasure is too rare of an experience to feel guilty about it. So I don't know that I have any guilty pleasures. What's something that I secretly love? Hi, thanks for joining us. Hey, look, the creator is here, or they're a member of their extensive social media team is here. Thank you for stopping in. I've had a lot of fun with this with my friends. Oh, and by the way, while the You Should Know Me people are here, they have a new game coming out soon called, hi, Amy. I would say to say hi to your husband, but it would involve asking him to pull up an email from 10 years ago, which is really the only connection we've ever had. First of all, check out the way the green screen goes through. That's pretty cool. But while everyone's here and we're talking about this game, they have a new game coming out called Flatter Me, which is a card battler in which you're battling compliments with each other. Just like this one, I read the rules, and just like this one, it feels pretty light. Amy, I hope you don't. I hope you take this the right way. It's more of an excuse to get together with people and talk to them versus really intense gameplay. I don't think that's that controversial of an expression. When does the new game, when does Flatter Me come out? Or am I behind the times and it hasn't? Or it has already come out and I missed it? Daryl, that's great. You secretly used to love Korean dramas, and now you embrace them. When I was in college, I had a roommate who was really into anime and manga, but he was one of those guys who was also really into just every aspect of Japanese culture. And he got all these videotapes of Japanese soap operas, and we used to watch those a lot. And they're really interesting in that they had a short. So unlike an American soap opera that would run for 40 years, this would more. It was more like a telenovela where it has a plot line, and then when it's over, the show's over. And they were great. The one we watched was about a garbage man and the loves of his life, but it wasn't in like a wacky way. It was just, hey, this is what he does. He collects garbage, but that doesn't mean he can't fall in love. Amy says that Flatter Me is going to be out in a few months. That is really exciting. In the Twitter thread, I will drop the URL. Amy, if you want, I think it's, what is it, flatterme.cards? I hope I'm right there. So, thank you, by the way, for not mentioning that a random person tagged you into a Twitter thread, and now you're on stream watching a 46-year-old man dressed as a raccoon, field strip, a mechanical keyboard. Although I guess you've probably seen odder things at XOXO. I'm still trying to think of something that I secretly love. This might be kind of a cop-out, but you know, one thing I secretly love is telling people I don't have time to watch TV shows, which I think is true. But then every week I'll spend, you know, like 2 hours reading forum posts and recaps and watching YouTube recaps and Twitter, or going through Twitter hashtags, instead of, you know, just watching the show. I'm like, oh, did you see Westworld? It's like, I don't really have time to devote to a show, but, you know, every Sunday night I'm spending 3 hours reading everything about Westworld. I don't know if that counts as a secret love, but I enjoy it. Actually, that leads me to my actual secret love. My actual secret love is this. I am very myopic. I have very, I think I have a -11 and a -10.5. And my absolute favorite thing in the world is when I'm done with the day is to get into bed and I take out my contacts and I push my phone right up to my eyes. Like, it has to literally be about an inch away from my eyes for me to see it. And it's great. It's my favorite computing experience because everything is right there in my face. I watch movies that way, just curled up in bed with my phone pushed right up in my eyes. Spend all this money for this giant TV and sound bar in my bedroom that I never use because it's not as immersive as just, you know, burning out my retinas. So, Amy, are you saying there's by next game, do you mean your third game? How about other people? Emma, do you have a secret love other than, you know, watching keyboard maintenance on Twitch in the middle of the night? Emma here, who's joining us, she is in Brittany, I believe. She's in France, but she's in the England part of France, I think. And she's Welsh, so. Nice. So there's going to be a third game in the Cards and Kindness trilogy, I'm going to say. Let's see. Daryl says, my discomfort was largely because when people found out, they would sometimes make comments that made me feel, what? Why would anyone make fun of you for liking Korean dramas? Now, was this had to have been before the K-pop explosion in the United States in the last few years? Do you have nieces, Daryl? Because I bet if you do, you're the cool uncle being into K-drama these days. Let me pull another card here. Oh, Emma says, I think when we get to our age, we learn to love things openly. That's a really good point. Like I said earlier, pleasure is too rare to feel guilty about it. All right, I'm going to pull another card. I know that... I will never get used to this 5-second delay here. I know that blank makes you worry. initially thought it said horny, and I was a little upset because this is a family stream. What makes me worry? Actually, this is something that, just like last week, I guess I'll just get heavy out of the blue. But one thing that's actually made me worry quite a bit, and I don't know if it's the pandemic, if it's everything else going on in the world, if it's the fact that now I'm an official member of Board Game Media. But I never used to suffer really from anxiety. But over the last few months, I have really started to deal with that. But only specifically around social media. Now, those of you who follow me know that that's probably the most Asa possible answer, of course. Of course, I'm anxious about social media. But, before that was always sort of a joke and kind of a low-key parody of someone else in our community. Over the last few months, I used to go to bed. Now, I just talked about going to bed with my phone, but I'd always move it away from my reach once it was time to go to sleep. But now I sleep with it right there. The last thing I do is I'm looking at my Twitter feeds. The first thing I do when I wake up is I'm looking at them. And it's not in that way where the way I used to always look at them, meaning, I was just kind of obsessed and wanted to see what my engagement was. This is more of a this is more of a way of just being really nervous that maybe overnight something came up, something I don't know what. I don't really I don't have anything to hide really, but or that I just wake up and boom, canceled again. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that David and I have started the Manifold. It's not just me making dumb jokes anymore, and so I think that's probably part of the anxiety. But yeah, and it could be the pandemic as well. So yes, the short answer there is what makes me worry. What makes me worry these days is social media, and I know we're supposed to say that cancel culture doesn't exist, and it probably doesn't, but I also know what does exist is people causing people to have really bad days on the internet. Whether, So, that's what makes me worry. Oh, I'm sorry, Roland. I missed one of your responses there. You said, I secretly love when I tweet someone cool on Twitter who has 100,000 plus followers, and they reply. Yeah, that is awesome. You guys will notice that I waited for everything except the stabilizers. So let me try. I'm really bad at this. All the keyboard aficionados who are watching are about to get mad at me. You know what? I think I'm so bad at stabilizers, I didn't actually connect them last time I put this keyboard back together. So. Oh, that's so cool. I was actually about to use the example of Neil Gaiman replied to Board Game Girl Jess a few months ago. That was pretty exciting. I had that tweet about the two game designers, Steve Jackson. Yeah, this is sorry to interrupt, but this is a key puller, and it just goes on each side of the key like that, and you just pull it off. I don't know why I'm demonstrating this in a way that doesn't demonstrate it nearly as well as what I was just doing. So again, another week. I want to apologize to everyone for all the disgusting hair you have to see. Let me try to clean this out. Yeah, I had that Steve Jackson tweet, and if you weren't up to date, first, this is probably exactly what you thought an Asa Basa live stream would be, me just talking about my tweets that did well. But if you're not familiar, if you didn't catch it, I did a tweet about how there are two Steve Jacksons, and a lot of people think they're the same person. There's the Steve Jackson who co-founded Games Workshop and went on to co-author with Ian Livingstone the Fighting Fantasy books. And then there's the Steve Jackson who, let's see, created GURPS. And when I was a young teen, my favorite game, Car Wars. And he created Ogre and GURPS, the role-playing system GURPS. But I think these days, especially to people who are more on the board game side of the hobby, he's more well-known for creating Munchkin. So anyway, those are two different people, both named Steve Jackson. And they've been friendly. There's a picture in the thread of them like fighting over a sign that says Steve Jackson Games. You know, I tweeted about it, did okay. The reason I'm telling you about this is yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, it had already died down, and then I was talking to a friend on the phone, and something happened in my notifications, and I was like, ugh, and they're like, what's wrong? And I was like, Cory Doctorow retweeted it. And I promise you that's not a stealth brag. I wasn't upset about someone with 400,000 followers retweeting me. I was upset because in my mind this tweet was already done, and now for the next day and a half I was going to have a bunch more notifications about it. So, you know what? Having finished that story, that is not that doesn't put me in as good of a light as I thought it would. So anyway, yes. In conclusion, I was not bragging about Cory Doctorow retweeting me. I was saying that at a certain point, it's like, I'm kind of done with this. I know, Daryl. Thank you. Hey, does anyone know how to block people? If you do, let me know, because I got someone I need to block who's causing trouble in the chat. Okay, so you know what? Actually, let me not do this first. So those of you who joined last week, remember that like a single micron of this stuff will immediately spread all over your body and coat you in oil. So I'm trying to be careful. Okay, so again, I apologize for all the hairs, guys. It's disgusting me. I can only imagine what it's doing to you. Okay, so what we're going to do here is these things that make, that help hold the, there we go, that help hold the space bar and some other keys in place. They have this little bit of connection there, and they kind of rattle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this grease, which is thicker than the lube, and we're going to this is just a interdental flosser. Like last time, I'm going to recommend them if you like to floss your teeth. These are so much better. They go in between your teeth. Highly recommend them. This is sponsored, by the way, by Equate. Full disclosure. A fully grown man pretending to be a raccoon convinced an off-brand dental company to sponsor his Twitch stream of keyboard maintenance. So yeah, I'm just putting a little grease on these to make them a little quieter when I hit the space bar. This kind of stabilizer doesn't need it as much, but it's always good to, you know, anything you can do to minimize sound. Just come on, get in there. Come on, get back in there. Might just take the stabilizer out, actually. Makes it easier. So this keyboard, I know you guys didn't tune in for keyboard facts, but this keyboard is kind of weird in that it's very solid, and it's a really good introductory keyboard, but there are things like the stabilizer I'm having ridiculous amount of trouble with. There we go. Okay. Hey, Karen C is with us, design biologist. Oh, hey, Karen mentions she was having trouble seeing because she was downloading something. But let me ask other people who aren't downloading 8 gigs of indie games. How's my stream quality? The reason I ask that is because I'm on Wi-Fi, because my little home studio, aka my kitchen table, isn't close to an Ethernet port. But if my stream quality is bad, I could do something about that. So please let me know. There we go. And I'm going to get this stabilizer in. Come on, come here. Come on. All right, we'll go the other way. I think it is. All right, there we go. Whew. All right. Yeah, what's going on here? Let's see. Let me go back over here. Why? Oh, it's my. Let me try this. And that. All right, guys, I can't see the chat right now. Give me 1 second, and I will. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to go off camera, and I'm going to figure out what's going on here. I'm only going off camera, PS, so that you don't have to see that I'm wearing gym shorts. So, back in a moment. Okay, what is going on? Why did you crash? Okay. All right. And I think we're good to go. Okay. And let me put my webcam back on. Hello, everyone. Apologies. Great. I'm sorry to everyone. I know everyone was dying to look at my keyboard. Apologies for that. I don't know. The app crashed. The app I use crashed. Okay. I'm trying to decide if I want to do the rest of these stabilizers because I really don't use them that much. Which again, anybody who's into mechanical keyboards watching this stream is screaming. I don't even know if I have one. You know, I'm gonna pass them by, and I can redo them later. I don't know if I have the little connectors I even need. So with that being said, let's start. Yeah, that's actually exactly what happened. I turned it off and turned it back on. All right, so now I'm going to start lubing these keys. So for, let's see, sound purposes, let's just remember where we were. Ready? You hear that like really sharp sound? I don't like that. Let's try to get rid of it. While that's happening, let me grab another card. This one says, I know you prefer the city or the country. That's a really interesting question. What do you guys like the city or the country better? Or do you have a preference? I think, you know, this is something I talk about occasionally, which is, I call it the IKEA kitchen theory. I don't know if it's a theory. The IKEA kitchen parable, maybe? Which is when I'm at IKEA, so I like to cook quite a bit. When I'm at IKEA, you know, I can't help but look at their kitchens, because the IKEA kitchens are pretty awesome. Real quick, taking a break. So here's what it sounds like. The keys sound like not lubed. Here's what they sound like lubed. Much better. Much better. Okay. So, and what happens is I go into the first IKEA kitchen and I say, oh my God, this is it. I love this kitchen. Love it. If I had this kitchen, I would be the happiest person on earth. I would cook all the time. It's rustic, it's charming, it just feels so homey, like the sort of place my friends would come and hang out. Then I go to the next kitchen, which is, you know, the exact opposite, right? Like it's very metropolitan, very stark, lots of white, clean spaces. and I say, oh my God, this is exactly it. This is the kind of kitchen I wanted. And forget the other one. If I had this one, then I go to the third one, which, you know, has a suburban vibe. And I say, oh my God, if I, you know, you guys know where I'm going with this, right? So, but at the end of the day, you've got to choose a kitchen. You got to choose. You got to choose the look you want, the place you want to live, the way you want to live. I'm not trying to get heavy or pretend to be profound here, but you know, even if you're super rich, you can't have every IKEA kitchen. You got to choose one. But how that relates to this city versus country thing is, I would love to live in the country. I'd love to live out in the middle of nowhere, you know, with a nice big yard, close to a forest, have a little stream with a little bridge. I actually grew up out in the country. I grew up, and my aunt and uncle actually had a little stream with a bridge. But you know what else I love is I'd also love to live in a city. I would love to live somewhere where I don't need a car, where I can just take public transportation everywhere, with cool movie theaters when they reopen, showing cool foreign films that I love. But the thing is, I gotta choose one. I can't have both. Like, ideally, I would live in a little cabin, miles away from everything, that is also connected by public transportation to the middle of a giant bustling city. And obviously that's impossible. So you have to choose one. I guess I kind of didn't choose. I just ended up here in suburbia. Let me catch up on chat. Let's see. Wow, chat's been so busy. I feel like ninja. So Dare would choose country because he needs space. I think that's good. Hart actually anticipated what I was saying about not liking to drive. And Sarah Jane. Hi, Sarah Jane. How are you? Thank you for hanging out last night with us. That was a lot of fun. I think Emma is kind of saying the same thing I am. Big surprise there. Oh, thank you. Yes. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, my next stream, you came late. I was describing different kitchens for the last 33 minutes, so I'm sorry you missed it. Let's see. And Karen, game biologist, says she spent 18 years in dense suburbs and she's not a fan. Yes, Roland, ends of invention, being able to cycle everywhere. And actually, I just this weekend, Roland's a big bike commuter, and you guys know I'm a bike commuter as well. And Roland, you know that there's such a shortage now that the pandemic's here on bicycle parts, and I actually wasn't able to get inner tubes until just this week. I had one. I had no backups, and I don't like the idea of not going out without backups. So I haven't actually been on my bike in a while. But anyway, it occurred to me that this week I haven't actually described what I'm doing in this part of the process. So give me 1 second. Oh, I hope I have enough lube. Okay, so what I'm doing here, let me describe what's going on. So these little switches, kind of hard to see. So there's like a plastic housing, and there's kind of the opposite of it on the other side. Inside there's a spring, and this little green part here trips. It has like a little notch, and it trips. Now, like I said, if I was doing this the right way, I would have desoldered the board and taken this piece out and broken it apart. Not broken, but opened it up, and then using a little brush, delicately brushed lube on every piece. Well, I don't do too many things delicately, and I don't solder or desolder anything. So what I'm doing instead is something that's gotten for boards like this that, you know, they're not $400 boards. This was, I think, $120. A lot for a keyboard, but you know, not the high end stuff. You just drop lube in on the sides, move them up and down, and it kind of coats everything. There's a lot of snobbery, even more so than in the board game space. In the mechanical keyboard space, there's a lot of snobbery, which is why I constantly am apologizing to keyboard fanatics because they'd be losing their minds at this. But this method, and there's another method with a spray can that's getting a little bit more traction these days. I think some of the old guards are starting to accept that you're not going to instantly destroy your keyboard. So let me see, trying to get caught up here. So Karen lives in a farmhouse with a half-hour commute to her office next to the state capitol. Wow. And that's up in, well, I don't want to dox you. It's up in the Midwest. Let's see. Emma says the downsides to country life are power cuts, no takeaway deliveries, and loneliness. Yeah, yikes. I'm sure. Let's see, but you're living in... I'm sorry that as an American it's hard for me to think of living in the French countryside as anything other than completely charming, getting your groceries delivered by a guy in a Peugeot, riding your little bike around. Let's see. I'm going to have to do better about this. So Sarah tried Suburban. She didn't like it. Ada misses living in the mountains, don't we all? I lived in Asheville for about 2 years when I was in college. And Asheville was gorgeous. I don't think you should ever move back anywhere. Obviously, that's not a hardline belief. But boy, I would move back to Asheville in a heartbeat if I could. Asheville, North Carolina. It's up in the mountains. So like Austin, but in North Carolina, basically. Another little drop here. The stream might end early. I might be out of, since I've already done a couple more keyboards with this tube, I might run out. Wow, you guys are chatting up. This is awesome. Thank you everyone for joining me, by the way. I have nothing to promote. You do not need to subscribe or follow. I do not have any goals. I'm not raising any money. I just wanted to hang out and mess with my keyboard. Let's see. So Emma, what's the non-American pronunciation of solder? Is it solder? Let's see. Let's see other folks. Oh, hi. I'm sorry if I get this incorrectly. Please correct me. Chayuk, is that right? Chayuk reached out to me last week, and she gave me the nicest compliment, gave me the nicest compliment about my stream, and that was very kind of you. So, oh, really? Solder is that true in the? That's not that's the UK. That's really fascinating. I was just watching a video that was talking about how Americans are more polite than Brits, but less sincere. In that. But, that's probably a whole rabbit hole we don't want to go down. Let's see. Chi. Okay, I'm going to call you Chi. I apologize. If I'd known you were going to show up, I would have gotten together with you in the DMs so I didn't embarrass myself. Well, Chi, thank you for joining us, and thank you again for all the kind things you said. Let's see here. How about we do another card? Let's see. Here's another card. I know you want blank right now. I bet what my viewers want is for me to stop pausing for the stream to catch up and understand that it's a delay, not 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 the thing frozen. So, cake. Amy wants cake. I understand that. Wow. I was talking with Ada, who's in the stream. Was it last night? She asked me what my favorite food was. I said candy, chocolate actually, which I'm diabetic and I eat extremely low carb, no sugar, anything like that. So I don't actually eat chocolate. I eat like Fako sugar-free chocolate, but that's not the same. Let's be honest. And I thought how kind of telling it was about my life that my favorite food, the thing I would eat right now, is something I actually just can't eat. So let's see, what do I want right now? All appearances to the contrary. I am not a huge mechanical keyboard aficionado, but I do want a second one to replace that one that we were working on last week. Not because it broke, I don't like the layout on it. And like I said last week, that's the keyboard I use when I work on my fiction. And not having a keyboard that you like is kind of troublesome. This is this used to be my daily keyboard. Now it's still connected to my keyboard, but mostly I use the wireless Mac keyboard most of the day. Oh, so my point was, do I want a new mechanical keyboard? Yeah, I think that's probably one thing I want. But the mechanical keyboard world is also sort of like the board game world. Well, in a lot of ways, but specifically in that there's really no such thing as a perfect keyboard or perfect board game. Like, think about any board game you like, it seems like they always have built in one downside. As an example is, I really like, I think I've talked about this before, I love Hey, That's My Fish. If you guys don't know that, it's a very lightly themed abstract game about penguins collecting fish. But what's great about it is it actually features really deep gameplay. And it's one of those games you can teach somebody in about 30 seconds and they start playing. This is one of my favorite things in all of gaming, is when you teach someone, especially someone who might not be a gamer, and for the first, half of the game, they're playing and they're like, oh, haha, haha, this is fun, this is dumb. But then something shifts and suddenly they're playing like this, just completely engrossed in the game. It's one of my favorite things about playing games with people, especially non-gamers. And Hey, That's My Fish does it really well. Highly recommend it. To me, it's a nearly perfect game, and I can say nearly because the setup is a pain in the butt. It's like 64 little hexagons you got to get in the right line. There used to be a guy on Board Game Geek who sold like a wooden board that you could kind of slot them into. But let's see. I'm going to catch up on chat. Oh, so my point was, just like with board games, there's not really a perfect mechanical keyboard. There's one I have my eye on that, or every one that I have my eye on. I have about 6 criteria of what I look for in a keyboard, and every one perfectly meets 5 of them. There's none that meets 6. Let's see. Yeah, Roland, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I love it. It's such a great game. And Karen's talking about a power outage. So what do I want? I tell you what I want. I want to be able to finish the skit I've been working on, filming, so that I can shave this ridiculous giant beard I've been growing out as a joke and finally get my only haircut that I guess I'm going to have of 2020. Those of you who have been following me for a while know I'm quite a dandy, and my grooming is very important to me, although pretty much as soon as the lockdown started. And, well, even before that, when I started working from home with the manifold, all that just went right out the window. So, that's what I want. I want to finish, this skit so that I can get a haircut and shave off. Just like, ugh, the worst, you guys. So is it a measure of, is it a good thing? I think it's a good thing. In Twitch, if the chat's having a separate conversation from you, I think that's good. Yeah, Hey, That's My Fish can be really cutthroat. I wish they would redo, or I wish the, I like that there is an iPad app, but there's one thing that just drives me bonkers about it, which is they did it from a forced 3D perspective. Meaning it's not like, say, the way you guys are looking at the keyboard right now, you know, from the top down. It's like that. So it's great if you're the person sitting here. You can see it looks like the way it is. But if you're sitting on the other side, it's like this weird upside down penguins. And it's really annoying. So I really like that bit in this week's Shut Up and Sit Down review, where they were talking about, it wasn't a review of chess, but they were talking about chess. I really like that bit where Matt was talking about how seductive chess is, even if you're not a chess player. You know, it's these beautiful boards and it's set up and it's right there. You know, the great thing about chess is how available it is. You know, if you go somewhere and they have a chessboard set up, you can just play, or you don't have to play. I really like that bit, and that's sort of what I'm saying about Hey, That's My Fish. It's like, it is really hard to be like, hey, let's just play. Now watch me try to align a bunch of hexagons for 5 minutes. Okay, we got 2 rows done. I'm going to start doing this bottom row here. Thank you to everyone who's joined. Ha, that's cute, Chi. Now, Chi, let's talk a little bit about you. Now, you are working on a project called Chicken Heist, I believe. And you are up in Vancouver with a group of, looks like, really cool cats and kittens who are creating a game called Chicken Heist. You want to tell us a little bit about the game? Roland, who's in the chat, Ends of Invention, he's the guy who's doing the bird RPG that we were talking about. Yeah, that's true, Roland, about, you know, who has a chessboard set up. But, like, I don't enjoy chess or like it, or I'm certainly not any good at it. But, like, I still will be, like, at antique stores and see a chess set and be like, I should just buy this. I guess I could play Lines of Action. Do you guys know this game? Lines of Action is a Sid Saxon game that uses checkers and checkerboard. And it's all about, you can, oh gosh, it's going to be impossible to explain, but it's a very simple abstract that has really deep gameplay. The Americans in the chat will appreciate this. My sister and I always play it on the giant checkerboards at Cracker Barrel when we go to Cracker Barrel with our family. Maybe I could get like a really fancy chess set and just ignore the actual pieces and play Lines of Action like I would on a checkerboard. Ada says she's played Chicken Heist. Did you enjoy it? Please say yes. We have someone from the team. It's a push your luck game, and it has some social deduction of upcoming events. That sounds super fun. That sounds right up my alley. That is awesome. When is it available? Is it upcoming? I'm sorry I don't have better information. Again, if I had known in the DMs, we could have coordinated me talking a bit more about this. So you guys can see. You can see at the top of each of these keys that I'm lubing, this little thing here, that's actually the light that lights up and shines through. Oh, it's being shipped in a week. That is super exciting. And what's next for the Chicken Heist team? You guys have anything else in the pipeline? Like I said, if you're joining us late, we have been going through You Think You Know Me, which is sort of a getting to know you game from Amy Bayo, who is here in the chat with us. In fact, let's do another card. All right, chat. I know your favorite cartoon is blank. What is my favorite cartoon? Are we gonna expand that to just say animation in general? Or do you think we need to? Uh-oh, guys. This happened last time. Oh, okay. Guys, the stream might be ending a little earlier than we wanted in that I'm actually out of lube. So I've done these 3 lines and not the other 3. So I'll have to get some more lube for the next time. Let's see how many more. I still got a little bit left here. Let's see how many more I can do. Nice. So it'll be Chicken Heist will be available on Amazon. Heart loves SpongeBob. Tom and Jerry, good choice. Let's see. What would be my favorite cartoon or just animation? I would say, I mean, Simpsons feels like such a cop-out to answer, but I mean, The Simpsons was such a central part of my high school and college years, and my 20s, and gosh, probably even my 30s. Okay, I think this is gonna do it, guys. Of course, I liked Avatar. Don't get me started on Korra because I don't want to sound like a neckbeard, even though I literally have a neckbeard. Let's see. Other animated things I like. Obviously, there's a bunch of anime I like. What, is that obvious? I hope it's not obvious. I hope you're surprised when you look at me and say, "Oh, there's a dude who likes anime." Let's see. I guess I'll just go with The Simpsons. That seems like probably the most correct, the most truthful answer for me. All right, come on, guys. Let's try to get this last few done here. Thank you. Can I do one more? Can I do one more? This is a bummer, guys. I didn't think I would have used this much already. It's cool. We'll hang out for a little while longer. Futurama. That's a great answer. What are other people saying? SpongeBob. It's interesting. Hart, I'm only 3 years older than you. If you're 43. I don't think I've ever seen like a second of SpongeBob. I mean, I'm not a snob or anything. I just, for whatever reason, like you, I don't have kids, and for whatever reason, I just haven't been around it when it was on. It always made an interesting conversation when I worked at the ad agency, and I was surrounded by, kids who grew up on it, and I'd just be like, I don't get it. I understand it. I made a joke on Twitter the other day, as most of you saw, about me, binging SpongeBob so I can make memes that kids will enjoy. I should probably actually do that. All right, let's, since I don't know how many more of these keys I'm going to do, let me put a few on. Let me drop a few on the ground, and then put a few on. Of course, I'm grabbing ones that don't belong in these rows that I've done. And let's just hear the difference in sound now that I'm a little closer to done. Okay. Are there seriously none of these that I'm going to pull that are there? Okay. P is up there. I haven't done it yet. Actually, let's see. Question mark. Okay. Question mark is here. So we're going to put question mark on. Nice. Let's see, ASDF, GH. I is up there. I haven't done that yet. We should probably ask another question because this is not going to be fun for you guys. Bob's Burgers. I think I've only seen one episode of Bob's Burgers too. And again, it's not personal. I just, for whatever reason, just haven't been around when it was on. Everyone I know really loves it, so I'm glad. Rocco's Modern Life, great. Oh yeah, Dragon Prince. So Dragon Prince is interesting. And maybe I will actually talk about Korra a little bit. If you've watched Korra and you said, I loved Avatar, but this doesn't really feel like Avatar to me. So there were 3 people involved in Avatar. There were the 2 guys who went on, the actual creators of the show, and they're the ones who went on and did Korra. But then the guy who was the head writer and executive producer, a lot of people think he was kind of responsible for what kind of made Avatar beyond, after the initial conception of the series. He's the guy who did Dragon Prince. So if you like Avatar and you miss Avatar, I would highly recommend Dragon Prince on Netflix. And another Netflix show, Kipo. I've been talking about that quite a bit. Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beast. It has a very She-Ra-like feeling, if you watch She-Ra. Clearly, I watch a lot of more animation than I thought I did. Hilda is fantastic and adorable. It's based on a series of graphic novels. Okay, we're going to deal with the spacebar last. Yeah, actually I haven't done the 2nd season of Kipo yet, but I need to do it. Oh, Hilda is so adorable. Hilda, interestingly, the voice of Hilda, the main character, is the little girl from the last few seasons of Game of Thrones, the kind of badass little kid, Lady Mormont, maybe? I didn't actually watch Game of Thrones, but I read plenty of recaps, so... All right, let's see. Control. Help me. Where does control go on a Mac keyboard? It goes on the outside. 4. Let's see. 6. Do all that later. Wait, I can do tab, right? Yeah. Tab. Nope, can't do tab. But I can do this shift. Not leave that? We're gonna have to investigate that. Is it? So I was right. It was Lady Mormont. What is this? The robber's daughter, Ronia Bye, Sarah Jane. Ronia the robber's daughter. What is that? Bye, Sarah Jane. Thank you for joining. Yes, this is a Mac. So actually, the nice thing about these code keyboards is it has a dip switch in the back, and you can set it to whatever layout you want. There's probably Dvorak and Azerty and all other sorts of layouts. So I have mine set up as American Mac. How is it possible I keep pulling keys out and I'm still not finding any of the ones that go in the central row here? Let's see. Quotes. I don't think go there. D. ASD. There we go. Guys, I'm sorry about this. I apologize that I ran out of lube. I'm sure you guys were eagerly anticipating the end of this adventure. But I will order some more. Let's see. ASDFG. That goes there. There we go. Let's do another question. This one is, I know you do/don't listen to your gut. Do you listen to your instincts? Do I listen to my instincts? That's a good question. Arguably, if I listened to my instincts, I would probably not be live streaming myself. Let's see, let's see. Oh, okay, M. I would not be live streaming myself trying to figure out how a keyboard works. But here we are. Do I listen to my gut? I think I do. I think yeah, I probably do listen to my instincts. Doesn't mean I don't second guess myself, but I think at the end of the day, I do pay attention to what feeling I have about something. Let's see. Oh, that's cool. Where can we watch the Roby Robber's Bride? Oh no, Roland, I'm sorry. Thank you, Karen. Yes. So what about you guys? Do you guys listen to your gut, or do you not listen to your gut? Let's see. Okay. We'll be doing some more live streams because I really enjoy this. There's a whole bunch of solo RPGs that are really just kind of writing exercises. I thought it'd be fun to do a few of those. Kind of brainstorm together. I also thought it might be fun. Wait, where does it... Oh, I have a keyboard right here, which is how you would think I would... let's see. CVB. And so that's actually... Artifact. Yeah, Artifact seems like a lot of fun. Maybe I'll grab that and do it. I don't know what the first one will be. I'm actually creating one. I mean, like kind of a low-key one, not like a huge... Not like 1,000-year-old vampire, which might be one I do. I also thought it might be fun to break a story. You guys know I'm a writer. I thought it might be fun to kind of go through what a writer goes through, especially like a screenwriter or a TV writer goes through when they start coming up with a story. What's the 3 acts? What are the plot points? There's especially in TV and movies, there's a very specific process you go through. You're not just kind of brainstorming. So I thought that might be kind of fun. Can do that one night. You know what I'll probably do? My first one actually will probably be me doing my favorite solo RPG experience, which is rolling up a game of Fiasco, but not actually playing it, just coming up with all the different characters. All right. What about you guys? Do you guys listen to your gut? So Ada says she defaults to her instincts. The more I think about this, I wonder if it's the sort of thing where everyone will say, "Yes, of course I listen to my gut," but it's more about the action itself, if that makes sense. Meaning, everyone says that, but do they really? I don't know. Maybe I don't, for that matter. Let's see. Goes there. Let's do another question. So Rollins says he's quite analytical most of the time. I think that's probably, actually, would we even say maybe this is a false dichotomy, right? Like, do you listen to your gut or you don't? Well, not listening to your gut is also listening to your gut, right? Analytical and being analytical and listening to your instincts are kind of the same thing, same side of the same, different sides of the same coin, I think. Well, Hart has a good point. If you deal with anxiety, not listening to your gut, there's probably a lot of advantages to that. And that's something I didn't think about. Thank you. Daryl's trying to leave. Daryl, you can't. I'm not done yet. We still have a little more time, so please stick around. I know you have/haven't acted in a musical or play. so if you're playing this with people who know me in real life, everyone would know yes, the answer. Of course I have. I wasn't a, well, I was kind of a theater kid, I suppose. But not in the sense of being an actor. But I was in a writing program that specialized in stuff for the stage. And so, let's see, did I get these right? Did I get those three right? I don't think I did. So yes, I have acted in plays, one acts, single person. So, all right. I don't think that's right. Let me try these others in the same position. How about you guys? Any theater people here? All right, Roland, I'll talk to you soon. 2 a.m. Gosh, you and Emma, you guys deserve awards for staying up this late. Thank you both for joining. I really appreciate it. Karen has not been in something until the 5th grade. Well, you know the next question, Karen, of course, is, well, what were you in 5th grade? I'm going to have to know all about that. I just got a report from my mom that the movie Greyhound with Tom Hanks on Apple is very good, and she recommends everyone watch it. So there we go. There's the. There we go. That's what I was missing. I think it was probably literally what I just had, but whatever. Oh, you were in a panto when you were a teenager. That's cool. That's Emma. Gosh. Yes, I would say being in a school play is a pretty universal experience in the U.S. Is it not where you're from? Another control. Running out of keys, but I still have so many more to place. How is this possible? Y'all, Emma was the Virgin Mary in the primary school nativity. But, well, hey, you got the starring role at least. The only thing Asa cares about, of course. What am I missing here? What's the, missing the other... Jeez, okay. Alright, and then this one goes in here. There we go. And we got a return key now I can put in. Boy, I hate that. Oh boy. I'm going to have to get these stabilizers set up too. So that'll be a thing for next week's stream. Is me not only finishing the lube job, but also getting some new stabilizers into this thing. So Chi is saying that she never had to be in a school play in Canada. Huh. I wonder if that's not a Canadian thing. Ada, do you mean Shirley Jackson's The Lottery? It seems like a pretty grim thing to put on in grade school. That's awesome. Yeah, and the heart has cued in to the same thing. The sounds you hear is the family Slack lighting up with excitement about the fact that Greyhound is good. My family loves their World War II dramas, apparently. Let's see here. Boy, it went much smoother last week, didn't it? Just tore that thing down, put the keys back in. Didn't run out of lube. Oh well. You know, I was actually feeling a little, I don't want to say overwhelmed, but like so many people were like, wow, it was such a chill stream. I had a really great time. And so now I felt like a lot of pressure to continue being chill for this one. So let's do another. Wow, I cannot believe you were in a play version of Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. Did you use like foam? Did you use like foam rocks that you threw at each other? I'm really fascinated by that. Well, this is a really good one to maybe end on. I know you're grateful for paper mache. Huh. What are we grateful for? What aren't we grateful for, right? What indeed are we not grateful for? Let's see. I think I got everything I need. Slide this in. Sorry for the noise, everyone. Okay. What am I grateful for? Yeah, I'm sure paper mache. Oh, wait, hold on, Karen. I wrote a scene in high school for a group project that the rest of the group acted out. It was a spoof of an ancient Greek play, so we had boys play the female. Wow, that's awesome. It's like a Greek version of a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. Oh, boy. Boy, do I hate that. Okay, so we're going to get those stabilizers working for next week. We're going to deal with the spacebar later. Let's get these modifier keys on. Let's see. So Chi, yes, it's a Mac keyboard, but I don't actually have a Mac key for this. So the command is actually a window key, which sucks. Alt is option. Over here, let's see. I think this is where the FN key went. I'll have to scroll back through the video to the very beginning to see. Yeah, we're going to deal with that later. This goes up here. That's not looped yet. Let's see. Do an option there. We'll just do a control there. Yeah, I dropped a couple. Where are they? What am I grateful for? Well, honestly, I'm grateful that yeah, I'm sorry, Chi. I'm grateful that people want to hang out with me and listen to me blather like this. That is really awesome. And I don't mean that in a light way. Having you guys here hanging out with me has been fantastic. Let me do a little sound check. Oh, that's going to be so much nicer. Great. Okay. Let me see if I can get any more out of this. Can do a few more while we're here. So yeah, I'm grateful for you guys. I hit 2,000 followers this week. Definitely grateful for that. I don't know, I mean, I know there's a lot of bad stuff in social media, and I know that, you know, I was just talking about some of the anxiety I've been experiencing with it. But, you know, on a whole, I've had a really good time with it. I haven't always been really successful in cultivating an audience for my stuff, but it's definitely been true with Twitter. I've definitely found my people, so I'm very grateful for Twitter. Ada's grateful for the sun. Ada's a great photographer, by the way. You should follow her on Twitter or on Instagram. Probably is the better place if you want to see her photos. It's her name here, Peace Love in Games, the letter N. She does great photography. She was shooting some bees earlier today, and they were quite lovely. The insects, bees, of course. I think we're almost done here, guys. In fact, I think we are fully done. I got just enough to finish this last sign. Duke. Can I do another one? Emma says she's grateful for all the support she's had this year. That's great. I'm glad you feel as loved as you actually are. I know I've mentioned this on Twitter, but you're one of the good ones. And I'm so glad that people have stepped up to support you because you're always so supportive of us. Well, guys, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. I think that's it. I am out of lube. So I'm going to leave this all set up and actually, you know what? I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to reattach my spacebar here. So this is actually, these little plastic things are nuts. I shouldn't probably be doing it on stream because they always drive me absolutely bonkers, but let's see if I can do it without cursing. Yes, as Ada says, we love you, Emma, very much. You are the best. You know, something that happens all the time is I step away from my computer or I'm not on Twitter for a minute, which I know sounds hard to believe, but it's true. And I come back and I have, you know, like 23 new notifications. And I'm like, oh my God, oh no, what happened? What happened? And then it just turns out that Emma woke up and is going through and liking all my tweets and replies to my tweets. It's always a really lovely thing. Of course, I'm not saying that to guilt you into continuing to do it, but yes, it's nice. So, okay. That's true, Chi. You know, I mentioned this last night that I wonder what we'll be nostalgic for when all of this is over. And a lot of people said, oh, I don't think, actually Hart herself, who was in this thread, said, I don't think we'll be nostalgic for any of it. And that's valid. But, you know, I have a feeling as the years go by, we might be nostalgic for things like hanging out, watching some weirdo work on his keyboard for an hour. Or just, you know, all of us, come on, all of us kind of checking in on each other and supporting each other as much as we can. Playing board games together. Yeah. I don't know. I could see, there we go. I could see a few years from now, or not a few years, 20 years from now, once the memory of all of this is behind us, to be like, you know, they were hard times, but at least we did that. Well, Emma, I'm glad I can make you laugh. Okay, so still has some rattle I'm not crazy about. Well, one thing we can do next week is you can actually put foam or even blue tack up in the top of a spacebar. Kind of hollows that sound, or I'm sorry, fills it in that so that sound isn't quite so hollow. But guys, I'm going to call it. It is an hour and 20 minutes. It's 9:20 Eastern, the middle of the night everywhere else. 6 something where Ada and Chi and other people are. I'm sure you're grateful for the update of the time. I'm going to keep You Think You Know Me out. Maybe in future streams we'll look at it as well. Thank you to Amy Bayo, the creator of You Think You Know Me, for joining the stream for a little while. I don't know if she's still around, but this is a great little fun thing to have around just to have on your coffee table. You know, people come over, you grab a few cards, and you ask questions. You don't even have to play by the rules. You can just pass them around. Amy's new game is called Flatter Me, and I think she said that it is, they're doing pre-orders, I believe. Guys, I'm sorry. I had my mind on something else, this dumb keyboard. But Flatter Me cards, I think. Let me scroll back up real quick and see. Or, you know, I could just Google it. That's the other. Okay, so Flatter. Yes, it's flatterme.cards, and that'll be coming out soon. So, guys, thank you. Thank you for joining me. I guess it wasn't as satisfying as last week when I stripped and rebuilt an entire keyboard. I'll order some more lube, and we'll do another stream next week. Thanks again, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye, everyone. I love you.